During a heated session in the National Assembly, Defence Minister Khaja Mohammad Asif called for imposing Article 6 of the Constitution on former Field Marshal Ayub Khan in response to demands by Umar Ayub, the opposition leader and Ayub Khan's grandson. Umar had emphasized that security agencies should remain apolitical, advocating for constitutional boundaries and expressing concerns about the decline of freedom of expression, including the ban on Platform X. He also pushed for a judicial review of recent political events. Asif criticized Ayub Khan for instigating Pakistan's first martial law and violating the constitution, suggesting a posthumous imposition of Article 6. The session saw intense exchanges and was marked by slogans and disruptions, leading to its adjournment until the following day. The Supreme Court criticized the investigation into the alleged torture and abduction of journalists Asad Tur, Absar Alam and Matiullah Jan, labeling it unsatisfactory and demanding better qualified officers for the cases. During a heated session, Chief Justice Qazi Faiz Isa reproved the police for slow progress, particularly in Matiullah Jan's case, and ordered the publishing of attackers' sketches and a reward for information leading to arrests. The court also instructed that the complete CCTV footage be analysed by Punjab's forensic lab and gave Islamabad police 30 days to make advancements. The hearing has been adjourned until June. The Federal Board of Revenue of Pakistan is intensifying its efforts to target tax non-filers by proposing a dramatic increase in withholding tax from 2.5% to 90% on certain transactions, such as mobile phone top-ups. The FBR has also initiated a crackdown on non-filers by instructing the Pakistan Telecommunication Authority and telecom companies to block the SIM cards of over 500,000 identified non-filers. As part of this initiative, approximately 11,500 SIM cards have already been blocked, with more expected soon. Telecom companies are required to comply with these blocks by May 15th, and the FBR may take legal action against those who fail to comply. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif highlighted the strong 7-decade relationship between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia in an interview with Al Arabiya English, describing it as unparalleled. He detailed recent bilateral talks and business delegation visits that have outlined clear cooperation strategies, especially in sectors like mining, renewable energy, and agriculture. Sharif also emphasized the potential benefits of Saudi expertise in information technology for Pakistan. The discussions have set the stage for the upcoming visit of Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, which aims to further enhance investment, trade, and cultural ties. This visit follows a series of engagements intended to strengthen economic relations amidst Pakistan's efforts to overcome economic challenges. Imran Khan, the former Prime Minister and PTI founder currently detained in Adiala jail, has declared his intention to communicate with Army Chief General Asim Munir about Pakistan's current situation. This announcement follows Khan's steadfast refusal to succumb to military pressures, despite recent calls from the military urging those involved in the May 9th protests to apologize before any dialogue can proceed. Khan outlined the grim economic state of the nation, highlighting the disproportionate tax collections versus debt interest payments, and predicted severe impacts on the salaried class with upcoming budget changes. He also addressed the contentious issue of inflated power bills in Azad Jammu and Kashmir, predicting further unrest. Khan refused to comment on a potential meeting with party leader Sher Afzal Marwat, emphasizing the need for discipline and unity within the party. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has resigned as the president of the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, facilitating the return of Nawaz Sharif as the party head. Maryam Aurangzeb, a party leader, confirmed the resignation via a post on X, which included Shehbaz's resignation letter. In his letter, Shehbaz reflected on the challenges faced by the party, especially the unjust disqualification of Nawaz Sharif in 2017. Citing recent developments that have cleared Nawaz Sharif's name, Shehbaz expressed that it was time for Nawaz to reassume leadership to guide the party forward. A meeting of the party's Central Committee is scheduled for May 18th to discuss these developments. General Syed Asim Munir, Chief of Army Staff, emphasized that Pakistan's independence and security are deeply indebted to the sacrifices of its martyrs. During an investiture ceremony at General Headquarters in Rawalpindi, he conferred military awards on army personnel for their acts of bravery in operations and distinguished service to the nation. The ceremony was attended by senior army officers and the families of the awardees, where medals such as the Sitara-e-Imtiaz and Tamgha-e Basalat were presented, with the families of martyrs receiving their medals. General Munir paid homage to the martyrs and war heroes, highlighting their ultimate sacrifices as a source of strength and resolve for the nation. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan stated at the White House that the Biden administration does not classify the deaths of Palestinians in Gaza as genocide. This clarification comes amidst a heated debate as President Biden, who is seeking re-election, faces criticism from within his party for his support of Israel. Sullivan emphasized the U.S. stance of wanting Hamas defeated and described the conditions for Palestinians caught in the conflict as hell. He also mentioned that a large-scale military operation in Rafah by Israel would be a mistake, while firmly rejecting the notion that the ongoing conflict in Gaza constitutes as genocide. India has entered into a 10-year contract with Iran to develop and operate the Chabahar port, marking a significant step in bolstering relations with a key Middle Eastern nation. The agreement, valued at $370 million, involves a $120 million investment by Indian Ports Global Limited and an additional $250 million in financing. Chabahar, located on Iran's southeastern coast along the Gulf of Oman, offers India strategic access to Iran, Afghanistan, and Central Asian countries, circumventing Pakistani ports like Karachi and Gwadar. Despite previous delays due to U.S. sanctions, the development of the port is seen as crucial for enhancing regional connectivity and economic prosperity, according to India's Shipping Minister Sarbananda Sonowal. A massive billboard collapse in Mumbai, India during a rainstorm on Monday has resulted in at least 4 deaths and 61 injuries, with more than 40 people feared trapped. The incident occurred in the Ghatkopar suburb, where gusty winds caused the billboard to fall onto nearby houses and a petrol pump. Rescue operations are currently underway with the involvement of fire services, police, and disaster response teams, as reported by the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation on social media platform X. The collapse, which was captured on news channels and social media, coincided with weather forecasts predicting moderate rain and strong winds in the area. The storm also temporarily disrupted flights at Mumbai Airport, leading to 15 flight diversions and a brief suspension of operations. The United States and China are set to hold their first talks on artificial intelligence in Geneva, following an announcement made during Secretary of State Antony Blinken's recent visit to Beijing. These discussions will involve senior officials and aim to open a channel for each country to express their views and concerns about AI, particularly regarding its rapid deployment in both civilian and military sectors. US officials, speaking under the condition of anonymity, indicated that they do not anticipate concrete agreements or cooperation offers, but will emphasize concerns over China's AI strategies, which they believe could undermine US and allied national security. The talks highlight the escalating development and implications of AI technologies by both nations, amidst broader efforts by the US, EU, and UK to regulate AI to safeguard privacy and security. OpenAI has unveiled its latest AI model, GPT-4o, on Monday, featuring advanced capabilities in realistic voice conversation and integrated text and vision interaction. This new model allows users to engage in real-time dialogue with ChatGPT, including the ability to interrupt the AI, enhancing the realism of the conversation. During a live stream event, OpenAI researchers demonstrated the model's versatile applications, such as coaching through a math problem, analyzing data on a graph, and performing real-time language translations. OpenAI CTO Meera Murati highlighted the significant improvements in the model's ease of use, marking a substantial advancement in making AI interactions more intuitive and responsive.